Dear students, Godfather বলে একটা সিনেমা আছে. Have anyone watched it? So it's directed by Mario Puzo. If you haven't watched it, then you may like it. Okay. So it's about the mafia world and the certain mastermind who controls the entire mafia world. The story is all about that. But here, in our lecture, the real Godfather is that particular cell which controls the entire formation of human body right from the tiny little zygote. Okay, so how you have been born, or we all have been born. There was sperm, there was egg, there was fertilization, and one little zygote formed. And what a surprise, suddenly out of this little zygote, not suddenly, over time span, but out of this little zygote, automatically, step by step, your brain is formed, your liver is formed, your lungs, pancreas, hands, legs, eyes, the skin, whatever, they form spontaneously, not by any external force, any external agent, whatever, entirely guided by the DNA coding present in that little cell. That cell divides and gives rise to various types of cells, tissue and organ, and continuing that process all by itself, a little zygote becomes a human body. So I mean, what's the whole story? The whole story starts from something which is called stem cell, and this is the godfather of the formation of entire human body right from a zygote. So we'll look into the story a little bit. So how and why the word godfather? So what is a stem cell? A stem cell is a primitive unspecialized cell. Note the word unspecialized. So it's of its general purpose. ঠিক আছে, it is not a lung cell, it is not a pancreas cell, it is not a neuron, it is not a blood cell. মানে ওর কোনো স্পেশালাইজড অ্যাক্টিভিটি নেই. This is unspecialized cell and it is primitive. Okay, it is formed in the initial stage of human body formation. So stem cell is a primitive unspecialized cell which can either self-renew, that is, it can reproduce itself, or give rise to more specialized cell types. তাহলে কি হয়, ও নিজেকে আবার রিপ্রোডিউস করতে পারে, কিংবা ওর থেকে ভাগ ভাগ হয়ে different specialized cell types can form. The stem cell therefore is the ancestor, great grandfather at the top of the family tree of related cell types. For example, one blood stem cell, it gives rise to red blood cell, white blood cell and platelet. তাহলে father figure is the stem cell. So stem cells are the foundation for every organ and tissue in your body, and the act of division of stem cell into specialized cells is called cellular differentiation. এই যে ভাগ হবে, স্পেশাল সেল হবে, সেগুলো it is called cellular differentiation. So how you became you? একটু মনে করাই, জানা জিনিস সবারই, লাইফ সায়েন্স যাদের ছিল. So there is an egg and many sperms. Now one sperm which wins, maybe with help of Chaya Prakashani. So that sperm gradually enters the egg. Please follow the arrows. And it meets the egg nucleus. The sperm nucleus meets the egg nucleus, and zygote nucleus is formed. Now this zygote matures into embryo. Embryo matures into fetus over a time span of few weeks or months, and this fetus matures into a baby. So What is the speciality of this stage embryo, or what is the difference between zygote stage and embryo stage? Okay, before that we will study how zygote becomes embryo. ঠিক আছে, zygote থেকে embryo হওয়ার মাঝের স্টেজগুলো. So it is oocyte, the egg, and upon fertilization it becomes a zygote. Then zygote divides itself into two. See the two cell cleavage. It divides into two, the two cell cleavage, and every cell divides into two, so it is 4 cell cleavage. Then every cell divides into two, it is 8 cell cleavage. This division process goes on, so there are the large number of cleavages, we get morula, then even higher number of cleavages, and we get something called blastocyst. So blastocyst is a ball of little cells. You can see the zygote divides itself, it keeps on dividing, and finally we get a ball of little cells. This ball is called blastocyst, and the blastocyst gradually becomes embryo. So what is the speciality of embryo? Embryo stage is the stage where critical body structures are formed. Critical body structures, that is lungs, pancreas, brain, they are critical. Clear? So how the blastocyst becomes embryo? How out of a blastocyst critical body structures have been formed? How? The answer, that chief architect, the godfather, stem cell. So there is a zygote. From zygote we get blastocyst or blastocyte. এই যে ব্লাস্টোসাইটের মধ্যে যে সেলগুলো দেখা যাচ্ছে, the little cells present inside the blastocyst, these are the little cells present here are called stem cell. They are embryonic stem cell. We get it in the they go on to form the embryo, so these are called embryonic stem cell, and they are called totipotent stem cell. So there are different stages of maturity of stem cell. একদম early stage stem cell, early stage এ থাকলে তাকে বলে totipotent. তাহলে from totipotent stem cell, these little stem cells, they are totipotent stem cell. এই totipotent stem cell থেকে they mature, and we get ectoderm stem cell, mesoderm stem cell, and endoderm stem cell. So they are pluripotent stem cell. Clear? So ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, they are pluripotent stem cell. Then under each branch, and how the pluripotent stem cells are divided into different branches they are guided by certain growth factors, and it is written here: FGF, activin A, Wnt3a, etc. Now under ectoderm branch there are neural progenitors and skin progenitors. These are multipotent stem cell. So the first stage is totipotent stem cell. From that we get pluripotent stem cell. Pluripotent stem cells are ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. From pluripotent stem cell we get multipotent stem cell. The multipotent stem cell examples are neural progenitors, skin progenitors, hematopoietic progenitors, mesenchymal progenitors, cardiac progenitors, pancreas, liver, and lung progenitors. তাহলে কি হলো? ব্লাস্টোসিস্টের মধ্যে টোটিপোটেন্ট স্টেম সেল, সেখান থেকে ভেঙে বা ভেঙে নয়, ম্যাচিওর হয়ে আরও ফার্দার activin A, FGF, different hormones under the influence of various hormones, the pluripotent stem cells give the totipotent stem cell gives rise to 3 branches of pluripotent, and each branch gives rise to different types of multipotent progenitors, এবং সেখান থেকে different body organs are formed. So let us start with mesoderm. The first multipotent stem cell is hematopoietic progenitors. So they are assistant architect, the hematopoietic stem cell or hematopoietic progenitor or hemocytoblast. Okay, so hemocytoblast matures and splits into 2 type of progenitor. One is myeloid progenitor, the other is lymphoid progenitor. Clear? এইবার lymphoid progenitor থেকে we get immunity boosters. So first of all, natural killer cell, lymphocyte, large granular lymphocyte. The second is small lymphocyte. From the small lymphocyte branch we get T cells and B cells. Remember Shobik was telling about this branching in previous class, in a previous class of I guess cell movement. Yes, yeah. So T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte, T cells and B cells, they are responsible for immunity and killing any infection creating germ, and B lymphocyte later matures into plasma cell. Now the myeloid progenitor. Myeloid progenitor matures into various branches: megakaryocyte, erythrocyte, mast cell and myeloblast. Megakaryocyte later turns into thrombocyte. Now the myeloblast gives rise to basophil, neutrophil, eosinophil and monocyte, and from the monocyte we get macrophage and some dendritic cells. Clear? So these are the various cells from which at the last stage we will get different types of blood cells: red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Because if you remember, the thrombocytes are closely related to the platelets, and the erythrocyte, they are closely related to the red blood cell, and the others are different forms of white blood cell. Okay, now again the next progenitor we will proceed, that is mesenchymal progenitor, and sometimes cardiac progenitors are considered to be a part of mesenchymal progenitor. So mesenchymal progenitor, it starts with mesenchymal stem cells. There are various self renewal factors. আচ্ছা, তারপর they mature into white pre-adipocytes and finally white adipocyte. Another branch is myogenic precursors. The relevant hormones are listed here, but I can mention here that you don't need to remember all these list of hormones. Okay, if you can, then you can remember 1 or 2 hormones which are more familiar to you. Suppose insulin, hormones like insulin, it is known to you. Hormones like FGF, TGF, beta, they are different types of growth factors. Otherwise I don't think you have to remember all these in such detail. Just try to remember, but there is no pressure. Okay, but please keep in mind these intermediate stages. Okay, because pathway is not in your syllabus. The pathway, the related hormones, it is out of scope of this syllabus. But remember the cells the stem cell is giving rise to. স্টেম সেল থেকে যেই সেলগুলো পাওয়া যাচ্ছে ওই সেলের নামগুলো মনে রাখাটা মাস্ট, বাকিটা যদি মনে থাকে দু একটা করে তো ঠিক আছে। So from mesenchymal stem cell we get white pre-adipocytes, and from that we get white adipocyte. Myogenic precursor, another branch, সেখান থেকে আমরা পাই ব্রাউন pre-adipocyte, myoblast. ব্রাউন pre-adipocyte থেকে we get brown adipocytes. আচ্ছা, myoblast থেকে what we get, very important, skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle, তাহলে the muscles that play very important role at various bone junctions. Skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, your heart, and smooth muscle, the muscle of your body, generalized, in a generalized sense. So skeletal, smooth and cardiac muscle, they come from myoblast. Myoblast comes from myogenic precursor. Okay, the next branch is condensing mesenchymal stem cell. From that we get chondrocytes, and the other branch is osteoblast progenitors. From that we get mature osteoblast. Okay, so mesoderm line complete. Next is endoderm. আচ্ছা, তার আগে একটা কথা বলি, আগেও বললাম, নোট করেছি সেখানে যাই না, দিস টাইপ অফ চার্ট ইজ এ বিট মিসলিডিং। এখানে ঠিক বোঝা যাচ্ছে কি যে একটোডার্ম, মেসোডার্ম আর এন্ডোডার্ম এই তিনটেই হচ্ছে প্লুরিপোটেন্ট স্টেম সেল, মানে প্লুরিপোটেন্ট থেকে তিনটে আসে এমন কিন্তু নয়। একটোডার্ম, মেসোডার্ম, এন্ডোডার্ম এই তিনটে হচ্ছে প্লুরিপোটেন্ট। প্লুরিপোটেন্ট আসছে টোটিপোটেন্টের থেকে। তাহলে ব্লাস্টোসাইটের মধ্যে টোটিপোটেন্ট স্টেম সেল আছে, টোটিপোটেন্ট সেলগুলো ম্যাচিওর হয়ে একটো, মেসো আর এন্ডো ক্রিয়েট করছে, এই তিনটে হচ্ছে প্লুরিপোটেন্ট। একটোর আন্ডারে নিউরাল প্রোজেনিটার, এটা হচ্ছে একটা মাল্টিপোটেন্ট। স্কিন প্রোজেনিটার, এটা হচ্ছে আরেকটা মাল্টিপোটেন্ট। এনিওয়ে, সো নেক্সট ইজ এন্ডোডার্ম লাইন। ফার্স্ট প্যানক্রিয়াস প্রোজেনিটার, দিস ইজ অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট আর্কিটেক্ট। সো হেপাটোপ্যানক্রিয়াটিক প্রোজেনিটার, the relevant multipotent stem cell. Hepatopancreatic progenitor gives rise to oval cell progenitor and pancreatic progenitor. From oval cell we get hepatic oval cell. From that it is in the final stage we get bile duct. You know, bile helps in digestion. So hepatic oval cell gives rise to bile duct and hepatocyte, and they can self-renew. Further, this is the detailed chart. The oval cell progenitor gives early oval cell, then intermediate oval cell, mature oval cell, finally preductal cell and prehepatocyte, and then bile duct or hepatocyte. Okay, the next second branch, pancreatic progenitors. The endocrine cell, the pancreatic duct and acinar cell, these are all derived from pancreatic progenitor. Endocrine cell, pancreatic duct and the acinar cell. Here is more detail about how from bile duct progenitor we get the bile duct, and the hepatocyte, from hepatocyte progenitor we get the hepatocyte. Bile duct and hepatocyte, both of these are very important for our digestion process and pancreatic activity. We will look into it in more detail in the liver section. Liver progenitors. Now remember what I said, the two important components of digestion system, the bile duct, the hepatic duct. The bile duct progenitor and hepatocyte progenitor, the exchange of bile and blood between liver and pancreas. So let us start from the scratch. So what liver does, it receives oxygen rich blood, all organs do, and it releases oxygen poor blood, all organs do. But from the gastrointestinal tract, from the GI tract, পৌষ্টিক তন্ত্র, from the GI tract it receives nutrient rich blood, so it receives nutrient যায় ব্লাডে করে, কার মাধ্যমে যায়? the hepatic portal vein. So the hepatic portal vein carries nutrient rich blood into the liver, and liver produces bile. So bile is something which helps in indigestion. It prepares bile and sends it to GI tract. And if I skip 2 or more slides, yes. So this is pancreas and liver together. So now you can realize the importance of bile duct stem cell and hepatocyte stem cell. Okay, so between it is the exchange of nutrient rich blood and bile. So it receives, the liver receives nutrient rich blood. Here you can see, here the pancreas and liver is connected by two things. One is the hepatic duct and the other is the bile duct. They are combined in the green line here, the hepatic duct and the bile duct. So pancreas sends nutrient rich blood through the hepatic duct and liver sends bile through the bile duct. So the exchange of bile and nutrient rich blood through bile duct and hepatic duct, এটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট। একটা হচ্ছে হেপাটিক ডাক্ট, সেটা কোত্থেকে পাচ্ছি? হেপাটোসাইট স্টেম সেল। আর একটা হচ্ছে বাইল ডাক্ট, কোত্থেকে পাচ্ছি? বাইল ডাক্ট স্টেম সেল। তাহলে এক্সচেঞ্জ অফ বাইল এবং ব্লাড ইম্পর্টেন্ট, বাইল অ্যান্ড ব্লাড। সো তাহলে পিকচারটাকে একটু উল্টে দিয়ে একটু যদি জুম করি তাহলে আমরা দেখব যে হেপাটিক আর্টারি থেকে, এবার বাঁ দিক থেকে ডান দিকে, তাহলে আমার লিভারটা ডান দিকে আছে, জিআই ট্র্যাক্ট বাম দিকে আছে। তো জিআই ট্র্যাক্ট থেকে ব্লাড লিভারে যাচ্ছে, দ্য রাইট অ্যারো, থ্রু হেপাটিক আর্টারি। আর লিভার থেকে বাম দিকে যাচ্ছে বাইল, ইট ইজ সেন্ডিং দ্য বাইল। এইবার তাহলে বাইল ডাক্ট, the father figure of bile duct is bile duct progenitor. The father figure of hepatic artery is hepatocyte progenitor. Now what are the important liver progenitors? Two types of liver progenitors are there. One is cholangiocyte progenitor, the other is hepatocyte progenitors. Clear? এই যে দেখা যাচ্ছে at the apex of the bile duct, bile ducটের মাথার দিকে যে সারাউন্ডিং সেলগুলো আছে, এই যে bile ductটা তৈরি হয়েছে, the bile duct has been formed by maturity of liver progenitors. কি কোন প্রোজেনিটর? মাথার দিকটায় কোলেঞ্জিওসাইট, তলার দিকটায় হেপাটোসাইট। The bile duct has been formed out of two types of liver progenitors. The one is cholangiocyte and the next is hepatocyte. And the entire duct, it is sometimes called canals of Hering. So this is here also a little part of canals of Hering, the green lines, the canals of Hering. It has been magnified এবং সেখানে we have shown the canal, the bile duct, the black one, it is the bile duct, এবং তার মাথার দিকে কোলেঞ্জিওসাইটিক প্রোজেনিটর এবং তলার দিকে হেপাটোসাইটিক প্রোজেনিটর। They are the stem cells. তাহলে পুরো বাইল ডাক্ট জুড়ে বিভিন্ন ছোট ছোট খোপে বাইলগুলো তৈরি হয়, জমা হয় এবং পুরো জিনিসটাকে কালেক্ট করে টোটালটাকে প্যানক্রিয়াসে পাঠানো হয়। So the main function of liver and pancreas rests in the exchange of bile and the exchange of nutrient rich blood, and the corresponding progenitors are cholangiocytic progenitor and hepatocytic progenitors. Lung progenitor, lungs, oh my god, lung cells must be very strong, right now they are the one who are directly fighting with the coronavirus. So how lung progenitor works, here at the top left, these are the stem cells, the lung progenitor, and there is a transition zone, and finally they are differentiated into various types of cells. They have been symbolized by different shapes, the green one, the maroon one, the blue one, the red one. They are different types of cells derived from the lung progenitor or lung stem cells. Now there is a chart here. The green ones, they are called ciliated cell. The red ones, they are called goblet cells. The yellow ones are called basal cells. This is the club cell, and then neuroendocrine and type 2 cells and type 1 cells. All of these are derived from the lung progenitor. The lung stem cells, they gradually evolve, they mature into basal, goblet, ciliated, club, neuroendocrine, almost like a pack of cards. সে তার সাথে যেমন হরতন, ঋতন, নিষ্কাপন, চিরেতন ইত্যাদি থাকে, সেরকমই লাগছে খানিকটা। তো লাং স্টেম সেল ম্যাচিওর হয়ে এরকম বিভিন্ন রকমের ব্যাসাল, গবলেট, সিলিয়েটেড, ক্লাব ইত্যাদি নানান রকমের সেল ক্রিয়েট করে। তারপর দিস টাইপ অফ সেলস they club together and form various regions of our lungs. They form trachea. ট্র্যাকিয়াতে কি থাকে, এই যে basal সেলগুলো তলায় থাকে, it forms a base, the basal cells, and on them ciliated cells are placed, and in the intermediate regions little bits of goblet cells and club cells are found, but main components of trachea is ciliated cells and basal cells. And following trachea we get bronchi and bronchiole, and in the last stage there is alveolus. So in bronchi the number of club cells increase, and there is neuroendocrine cells are also present there. Basal cells are absent, so basal cells are present only in trachea. Then ciliated cells, club cells make up the bronchi region, and also they make up the bronchiole region. Bronchi and bronchiole are almost similar. They have neuroendocrine, club and ciliated. তারপর ফাইনাল স্টেজ alveolus, totally different. So it is made up of type 1 cell and type 2 cell, type 1 alveolus cell and type 2 alveolus cell, and thus your lungs are formed. The ectoderm line, the neural progenitors, very very crucial and vital. All of your brain functions, the nerve functions, how you react, কোন ঘটনায় কতটা চিৎকার করবি কিংবা চুপচাপ মেনে নিবি, কতটা ভয় পাবি, করোনার খবর শুনে কতটা আতঙ্কিত হবি কিংবা আতঙ্কিত হবি না, পুরো ব্যাপারটাই ডিপেন্ডস অন হাউ ইউর নার্ভস আর অ্যাক্টিং। ঠিক আছে, somebody who gets excited easily, somebody who is very difficult to excite. এই যে স্নেহাশিসের নার্ভ সেল আর সৌভিকের নার্ভ সেলের মধ্যে হেল অ্যান্ড হেভেন ডিফারেন্স। So all of these can be attributed to the neural progenitors. So we will see how they are evolving. The assistant architect, neural progenitor, progenitor বানানটা ভুল আছে, ওকে, জি হবে, জি, it is not J, it is G. So neural stem cells, the father, the multipotent. Upon application of various growth factors, the neural progenitor cells It branches itself into two. Very important, neuron restricted progenitors and glial restricted progenitors. তাহলে neural progenitor থেকে we get neuron progenitor and glial progenitor. Neuron এক ধরনের জিনিস, glial অন্য ধরনের জিনিস. I will discuss it in more detail. Now from neuron progenitor we get 4 types of neurons. Actually from neuron progenitor we get dopaminergic, GABAergic and glutamatergic, 3 types of neurons. Okay, dopaminergic, GABAergic and glutamatergic neuron. আচ্ছা, এবার নিউরন প্রজেনিটরের ভাই হচ্ছে মোটর নিউরন প্রজেনিটর। বোঝা গেল? তাহলে এটাকে ইন্টু 2 না বলে ইন্টু 3 বললে বেটার হতো। নিউরাল প্রজেনিটর সেল থেকে 3 ব্রাঞ্চেস, নিউরন প্রজেনিটর, মোটর নিউরন প্রজেনিটর অ্যান্ড গ্লিয়াল প্রজেনিটর। নিউরন প্রজেনিটর থেকে ডোপামিনার্জিক, গ্যাবায়ার্জিক অ্যান্ড গ্লুটামেটার্জিক। মোটর নিউরন প্রজেনিটর তো গিভস রাইজ টু মোটর নিউরনস। গ্লিয়ালগুলো হচ্ছে একটু পরজীবী টাইপের ব্যাপার আর কি, মানে এই যে লম্বা লম্বা তার, the লম্বা neurons, on the long neurons the glial progenitors they stand upon them. The glial progenitors are not long thin neuron type things, they have a different structure. Glial progenitor থেকে we get oligodendrocyte and astrocyte. তাহলে সামারি, নিউরাল প্রজেনিটর থেকে 3 ব্রাঞ্চেস, নিউরন, মোটর নিউরন, গ্লিয়াল। নিউরন থেকে 3 ব্রাঞ্চেস, ডোপামিনার্জিক, গাবায়ার্জিক, গ্লুটামেটার্জিক। মোটর নিউরন থেকে মোটর নিউরন, গ্লিয়াল প্রজেনিটর থেকে অলিগোডেন্ড্রোসাইট অ্যান্ড অ্যাস্ট্রোসাইট. The neurons are long wire-like structure, but glial progenitor, they are more like a cell and they work in coordination with the neurons. So from glial we get oligodendrocyte and astrocyte. So much for the current lecture. In my next class I will discuss in more detail specifically what type of roles are played by different types of neurons. Okay, so bye, and hope you find this lecture more interesting compared to the previous ones. Bye, see you soon.